What's up guys, and welcome to the Surfing Connoisseur. On the 3rd of August 2016, the International Olympic Committee voted for the inclusion of surfing in the Olympic Games. Here's what we know so far, and my thoughts and speculations as to what it might mean for surfing. So this wasn't the first time the International Olympic Committee were asked to consider including surfing. The International Surfing Association had asked in the past and it had been turned down. So what's new? Well, I don't know if it's actually clear the reason for the change in attitude, but obviously surfing is more and more popular than it ever has been. There are surf spots in Japan that are pretty popular, and why not, I guess. It's also interesting that skateboarding has been included for the first time, so it's maybe just looking at maybe bringing a new, younger audience to the Olympics. At the moment, we know there will be two events. There'll be the men's and the women's. It will be shortboarding only. There won't be longboarding, bodyboarding, SUPing, anything like that. So it will just be high performance shortboard surfing. The Olympics will be held between the 24th of July and the 9th of August 2020. And in the same way that World Surf League events have a waiting period, the International Olympic Committee have given the surfing event the whole of that window to pick the best 2 days to run the event, which is, in my opinion, an awesome idea, because if they'd have just said, here are your set days, we know how that works out with the various sort of one-day events and QS events where the waiting periods and stuff aren't as big maybe. It just doesn't work too well. So thumbs up for that, guys. Both the ISA and the IOC have both been quoted as saying they're confident that the event will get a good surf within that period. And looking at the time of year, that does seem likely. It's not clear at the moment how the event will be judged, but we assume it will be similar to what the World Surf League are doing. I've not seen anywhere that it's been announced the heat length, whether priority system will be in play, how many waves will be scored, whether it will be out of 10 or 100, so it'd be interesting to see what they do there. It seems sensible to keep it in line with what the WSL are running, but given that it's going to be a different event, it'd be cool to maybe see it done in a different way. The IOC will no doubt be guided by the way they judge and score other events, but the thing with surfing is it's so much different to other events, so how much guidance they take from the WSL and from their own history will be interesting. Clearly sports like diving and gymnastics, while similar in the sense that they're based on scores, aren't as subjective as surfing. That gymnastics and diving are all about form and things like that, whereas surfing, I suppose the nearest thing you'd have is style, and style can be very different but still good in different ways. You only have to look at the WSL's rulebook on scoring to see how subjective it is and how many arguments flare up afterwards. So it'd be interesting to see if they come up with a less subjective version. Maybe they can use that trace technology and start looking at the length of turns and things like that. It has now been announced that we'll be using Tuzuraki. I've literally got no idea how to say that. It might be pronounced more Chigasaki. I know Google was trying to tell me it was called that. Either way, I'm sure we'll find out nearer the event. And it is definitely a surf break. What I mean by that is the World Surf League, the IOC and the ISA have now dispelled the rumours that were going around about a wave pool being used, specifically Kelly Slater's wave pool. They haven't excluded it totally for the future, but it does seem right that the event's competed in the ocean. That's where our sport is done at the moment. It isn't done in wave pools. Maybe in the future it will go more towards wave pools as a whole, and then maybe it's right to start using them. But at the moment, when we're trying to choose the best surfer, it wouldn't be right to choose the best surfer in a place where most people don't surf. Part of being the best surfer is the best wave selection and things like that, so all those things about being judged on better waves and things like that don't necessarily apply, I don't think, fully. I think that is part of who is the best surfer, making the right decisions to have the right waves at the right time, etc. On that note though, Kelly Slater himself did say that it was a little unfair to choose the best surfer off one event, as surfing is more than just one event in one type of wave and on one day. Whilst I agree with him, I disagree with the concept of it being a reason for it not to be in the Olympic Games. We have the World Surf League, that chooses the best surfer over a year. Why not have an extra event at the Olympics where every 4 years the best surfer, the best Olympic surfer can be chosen? It's kind of similar to cycling in my eyes. There are many different types of cyclists, from the skinny short guys who are good at climbing up hills to the big stocky sprinters. They only get one race circuit for that day. They might wait 4 years and it's not the track that's going to suit them. It's only the same as surfing. You're going to be at events where maybe this year being a bit more beach break is going to suit Felipe Toledo. Who knows, one year we may be lucky enough to have it a bigger, punchier, more powerful wave, and then it might suit somebody else. Or it may just be that the Olympics becomes a bit of a slop fest, QS type thing, which, let's face it, will be pretty boring, but at least then you can have like an Olympic surfer, if you will. Anyway, that's enough of what the speculation and rumours were. Now we know where it is being held. What do we know about it? It's one of the most consistent and powerful waves in the region. That said, it is still a beach break, and the pictures and images I've seen of it are what you'd expect of more a QS type event than a World Tour event. So it's maybe going to favour those guys more. Definitely the guys who have grown up on sloppier coasts. I think it'll throw some surprises in there. Arguably, again, it does make it a bit of a non-event in the sense of choosing who the best surfer is, because you aren't choosing the best surfer per se. The break itself is a short distance from Tokyo, and from what I gather, it's pretty damn busy at the best of times in summer. So good luck if you plan on going to the Olympics to watch and do some surfing. The break itself is considered best from August through to October, so you'll note from the dates of the Olympics, but they've fallen pretty nicely there. It's just before the start of their typhoon season, which does tend to send slightly longer range swells and slightly bigger swells too. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we could get some good surf for the event. Although from what I gather, it's most likely that the event will be held in knee to sort of head high conditions. So not the best, but at least there's something there for the guys and girls to perform on. There have been previous ASP and WSL events held at the break, so it's not like it's totally new territory, although they're hardly the most famous breaks in the world, and trying to find anything out about them online was freaking difficult. There's very little by way of photos. The photos I've showed through this video and will continue showing through on the same area of coast, they're not the same break. Finding anything that was copyright free to share with you in this video was pretty difficult, but I wanted to give you an idea of the actual surf that would be found. The nearest thing I could find, and I imagine it gives us a pretty good idea. Yeah, no doubt the actual beach itself might be a bit better in shape or in form, but the wave height isn't going to be much different to the type of surf we're getting down on the same coastline. Water temperature looks like it'll be about 20-21 degrees. Still in that region really of being in a wetsuit or a shorty / spring suit, although nowadays the wetsuits are that good material that it doesn't really hinder guys' performance anyway, and most people are used to surfing in the thinner suits to some extent anyway. What isn't clear at the moment is who will make up the 20 female and 20 male surfers that will be competing in the event, although it has been made clear they won't solely be selected from the World Championship Tour. Now, I'm split minds over this. In a sense, we want to see the best surfers fighting this out, but in another sense, the best surfers in this type of, as I say, beach break heads to knee-high wave aren't going to be the same guys as that are on the tour, because the guys on the tour obviously surf at pipe and chopes and things like that, which are worlds away from what we're going to see in Japan. The IOC have said that they want to have a wider range of countries. I mean, you only have to look at the World Championship Tour. 2017 is dominated predominantly by Australians, Americans and Brazilians, especially when you factor in that the Olympic will include Hawaiians as Americans, which will be interesting in itself as it'll make the selection for America so much harder. So there'll no doubt be big names which won't be in the event, but they've not given us any indication as to how these surfers will be selected. It's also worth bearing in mind that it's not going to be for another good few years yet. So guys like Mick Fanning, who are getting older as far as surfing is concerned, have already put their names in the hat to be coaches for the Australian team as opposed to be competing for the Australian team. But people like John, who are going to be still prime age as far as being a surfer is concerned, but will he manage to get through whatever selection criteria is up against all the other Americans who may actually be better than him in these beach break type style grovelly waves? Literally, who knows? It'd be really interesting to see how they decide it. I think my understanding was the International Surfing Association are going to be looking to the IOC and how they select for other games as guidance on this. I'm sure there'll be upsets though in who's turned away and not selected, and there'll be loads of controversy, so that'll be interesting to follow. One thing for me that'll be interesting is whether Kelly Slater will be factored into any of the team selections. He's going to be pretty much 50 at the time the games are held. He's already the oldest surfer on tour. 50 is way old. In fact, it's almost double the age of most of the guys on tour. He's kind of said already it's not going to be choosing the best surfer, so he's kind of been a bit critical of it in a sense, but he's equally the most decorated surfer, the best competitive surfer of all time. He still appears to be competitive too. Although he said that he's going to have one last run at the World Championship Tour in 17, he soon seemed to qualify that statement by saying that he doesn't plan on stopping competing soon, although he may not do any full years on the CT anymore. So that idea that he's going to keep competitive, to me, I do wonder if he's just going to keep going for the next 3 years and finish off at the Olympics. It'd be really interesting to see, especially as the waves aren't going to particularly suit his style of surfing and his build as a surfer, and it will be taking away from some of the younger guys, which he doesn't seem like the type of guy who would want to do that. But let's say him and John get selected for America, there's a lot of guys then that arguably have have just as good, if not a better chance of winning in those conditions, and would miss out on the chance because of that. So I'm probably leaning more towards the fact that he won't be competing, but Kelly Slater is such a huge name and such a massive personality. The viewing numbers skyrocket for him when he's surfing in WSL events still, so it'd seem like a bit of a mad decision for them not to if they are concentrating on who they want to have there. But I definitely think there'd be better people for America to put forward. I'm definitely going to be doing more videos about this topic in the future, as the Olympics is going to be such a huge thing in surfing, whether you like it or not. So why not let's start some discussion on that point. Let me know in the comments below whether you do like it or not, as I know it's one of those things that's already split the surfing community massively, with some people really excited for it, other people thinking it's selling surfing out. I'm kind of on the fence and would love to know your guys' opinions to help me form my opinion, really. I'm half of the view that it's going to be great to see surfing in the Olympics, and it'll certainly make me care a bit more for the event itself. The other half of me does see it as kind of selling out. I think I'm leaning towards that I'm glad it's happened, but that's because I live on the cold coast of England. I'm sure if I lived on the Gold Coast of Australia, I might be of a slightly different opinion. So why not let us know in the comments below where you live, as well as what your thoughts are, so we can get some perspective as to why you've got the opinions you have. The other thing I'd say to people worrying about the popularity of surfing and it's gonna make our beaches even more crowded, is it really? This is an event that's likely gonna be grovelled out in beach break surf. How appealing is that to the general public? It's just gonna be backhand snap after backhand snap after backhand snap. Maybe Philippe Slido will be able to do a few airs, but is that really going to make surfing really that much more popular than it already is? When I used to bodyboard a lot, so I had knowledge of the ocean and the waves, I used to find backhand snaps on repeat boring as hell. You kind of have to know a lot about surfing to really appreciate guys like Matt Wilkinson's sort of style and finesse with those moves. Yes, the airs are entertaining, but once somebody's been out on a foamy once and fell out and realised how hard it is to stand, is the idea of them being able to do those airs really gonna boom surfing that much? I don't think it will. So that's my opinion. I'd love to know what yours are, as I say. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up now. As I say, I will definitely be doing some more videos on the Olympics, so if you'd like to see those along with all my other videos, hit that circle button down there. It'll subscribe you to my channel for free, so you'll be notified when any of my future videos go live. If you're killing time and you'd like to see one of my previous videos, hit that rectangle up there and that'll let you see something I've done in the past. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope I see you soon.